As everybody knows, the big story yesterday, and probably today, and probably for the rest of the weekend, was the United States Supreme Court saying to Donald Trump, or more specifically, the state of Texas, to go to hell. Okay, remember I talked the last video about the 30-page, well, that was the amicus brief, I think it was what it was, which accompanied this long screed by the Attorney General, who's under investigation in Texas, who wanted to overturn the election and the some of the, whatever you call them, swing states that decided the election in favor of Joseph Biden. And anyway, it was put together with 2 nails and a hammer, with a big shot of secession, or not secession, but sedition glue put together and thrown in front of the noses of the justices. But they said pretty much, go to hell. So this is what they wrote. The state of Texas's motion for leave to file a bill of complaint is denied for lack of standing under Article 3 of the Constitution, which means that Texas didn't show that it was injured by what the other states did. Okay. Texas has not demonstrated a judicially cognizable interest in the manner which another state conducts its elections. All other pending motions are dismissed as moot. And then Alito and Thomas, they made this point. In Sam Alito and Justice Thomas, in my view, we do not have discretion to deny the filing of a bill of complaint in a case that falls within our original jurisdiction. I would therefore grant the motion to file the bill of complaint, but would not grant other relief, and I express no view on any other issue. So they would have voted to hear it, or put it on the docket, or whatever, but they wouldn't have upheld it. So basically it was 9-0 to these seditious individuals. So there was that. And of course, the Republicans, there were something like 106 that had signed on to, and we're talking Congress people, members of Congress, who signed on supporting the Texas suit, which of course is sedition, right? It's sedition. And 106 put their names on it, and 20 others were too chicken shit to add their names to it. Or they were too late to put their names on it. And what Nancy Pelosi should do when they convene in January is she should just refuse to have them sworn in. And citing Section 3 of Article 14, or not Article 14, but Amendment 14. But there's questions on whether she could really do that, because the 14th Amendment basically applied to those that were on the other side in the Civil War, that were members of the Confederacy. And it said, prohibits any person who had gone to war against the Union or given aid or comfort to the nation's enemies from running for federal or state office unless Congress by a 2/3 vote specifically permitted it. So that's what it was. Supposedly it just applied to the Civil War. But on the other hand, I found this out, and it said Section 3 was used to prevent Socialist Party of America member Victor L. Berger, convicted of violating the Espionage Act for his anti-militarist views, from taking his seat in the House of Representatives in 1919 and 1920. So it can be argued either way. My guess is Nancy Pelosi probably will not invoke that. But sanctions need to happen to these traitors to the United States. They shouldn't be allowed any kind of power in Congress for what they signed on to. And they could say, well, we wanted to do this for show in front of the Trump supporters, or they were afraid of their wrath or whatever, but you're never supposed to do that. Okay, Joe Biden was elected fair and square. And then, so there's that. And Ben Sassy, I guess that's how it's pronounced, but he's preparing for a run for, let's see, for 2024. But I'll take criticism wherever I can get it. And anyway, he supported the Supreme Court decision, and he told Donald Trump to can it, basically, with this conspiracy crap. That he lost, that he needs to get a life, and it's over, all over, but the EC vote Monday, and them being sworn in January, and not they being sworn in, but the vote being certified in January by Congress. And that's it. So that was good to see at least one Republican sticking his neck out. And I'm sure there are a lot of others in Congress. And then later today, or maybe right now, a few hundred people, well, we'll find out the exact count, because I'm going to kind of monitor it. But these dingbats that are putting together the so-called Jericho March, I talked about it in my last video, it's about underway. I think they start at noon their time back east in Washington, D.C., and out here it would be 9 a.m. in the Pacific time zone. But let's find out. See if they've got any live video, because if they've got live video, then I'll go ahead and post the link. Well, no, they don't have any live video yet. They just have ads, so there isn't anything yet, but no doubt there'll be. I'll post a link to this channel, and later on, if I can get this video to download halfway quick, then I will put the link to the whatever sites that are actually carrying these marches. And it's supposed to be, and what kills me, it's supposed to be in the several states that where the election was close. But what kills me is they're planning a march in Carson City, Nevada. But Trump didn't win that state in 2016, so I don't know why the hell they're even doing it. But anyway, that's all I have to say. I was glad there was some good news. But the big problem is, of course, this is a big bump in the road for these fascists. But the rot is still there. The rot is still there in our political system. And our country, if it isn't reversed, if this stuff isn't stopped, if YouTube, for example, allows these channels to exist that call for insurrection and sedition, or keeps peddling the voter fraud narrative, if they don't knock these channels off, it's going to continue to fuel this. Also, Parler should be under investigation. And why any of these weirdos would even go to Parler, I don't know, because they ask for your driver's license or passport ID and your phone number before you can set up an account, which of course makes it easy for law enforcement to go in and investigate a person who's calling for sedition or insurrection against the United States. It's not free speech, people. It's not free speech to do that. So that needs to be cracked down, and as I've mentioned before, when Joseph Biden gets in there, he needs to instruct the IRS to put teeth back into the Johnson Amendment and stop this politicking by churches and preachers from the pulpit, because they're dangerous as hell when they do that stuff, and they're not telling the truth when they're doing it. So that's all I have to talk about for now.